I thought it was lost forever. The Sami spirituality, worldview, and the way of thinking, all the myths were forgotten. I thought all of that was gone forever. And this is my personal story. I grew up in Karasjoka, which is one of the towns where there are most Sami people. You can hear Sami language there every day. One of the largest Sami communities, towns. We have the Sami parliament there. I feel like I was really lucky because I learned so many things in school. I learned how to sew the gakti, the Sami dress. I learned how to make a knife, how to make knit woolen socks. I learned how to make the bowls from wood. Like, we learned so many different things. Tuochi, the Sami handicrafts. And we also learned a lot about Sami culture and all of that, of course. My learning language was Sami when I was in school. And we had a separate class also for the reindeer herding Samis, because they couldn't come to school all the time, so they would have their own kind of workflow in school, so they had their own class. But what we learned in school was that we learned about all the Sami gods and how the Noidis worked, and a little bit about how they were think and the worldview and all of that. But we learned that this was in the past, that this didn't exist anymore. We learned that now all Samis were Christians. So this kind of worldview didn't exist anymore, that it belonged to the past. So when I grew up, I didn't think about this. I thought that, okay, this was something we used to do a long time ago, and now it's too late to do that. There's nothing more left of that culture. It's gone. And when you're young, you kind of accept a little bit how things are, and then you try to find your own way. So I was really interested in spirituality. Like, I was interested in knowing about ghosts and divination. Like, we would drink coffee and tell fortunes to each other. As a teenager, I used to put 7 different kinds of flowers under my pillow to see if I can dream of my husband in the future. Like, I loved all of this kind of stuff. I was also very interested in, healing, how to heal and stuff like that. And and dream interpretation and all that kind of stuff. And we do have a Sami shaman in our family. So I was aware of this. So what happened in my youth was that I was very philosophical. I was sometimes melancholic, and I was kind of searching for something more. I was searching for something bigger in life. I would explore almost every religion that there is in the world. I would try to learn about all the religions, and I would try to do the practices. I was, trying to see if it fit me, because I was kind of trying to find my place in the world. Where do my values and my beliefs, where do they fit in? So I was trying to find my place in the world. I learned about so many different cultures, all the big ones, of course. Some of them fit me a little bit. While I was looking through, trying to find my own spirituality, I used to go to something called Alternative Massa. I used to volunteer there so I could go for free when I was a student. And Alternative Massa, it's a huge market, showcase place for every alternative medicines, healing, all of that. And there were a few of them in Norway. And that's where I met some people. Like, for example, I met, oh, that was a fly. So, for example, I met Ailo Gaup, and he was there. Like, I did a drum journey with him. And I got to know people in those places that were actually, that said that they were actually doing like Sami spirituality, Noidevuota, that they were kind of like practicing the old Sami ways. So that's when I started to understand that, hey, maybe this isn't totally lost, you know, maybe there is more of this, you know, there are people out there who are actually practicing the Sami spirituality in their daily lives. And maybe I am also, like, without knowing it. And so that's when I started to realize that the Sami worldview and the spirituality isn't actually lost. It's just like hiding. And by now I'm like 20, in the end of my 20s. So while I was realizing that this was not actually, you know, all lost like I thought, I did realize that this was not accepted in the society. It was like we were looked upon as the weird people amongst the Sami people. And when I found that there are so many, that the Sami spirituality actually is alive in a very small group in Sámi, like it's very hidden, but there are people working on this. There are people who are actually trying to preserve it so it doesn't get lost. I felt like so relieved. I was like, wow, I can't believe that I searched like all over the world. I was searching in every religion there was. I went to libraries and read about every religion, and I couldn't find anything. And then there it was, right there in front of me, in my own culture. Of course, like this is like, of course. Like this, why wouldn't it? Like this is so logical. Like I felt like I had come home. I felt like I had found a place where I belong. I felt like I was connected and felt that, I felt the belonging. Why didn't I realize this before? I thought the whole time that it was just lost forever. But, you know, at the same time, I realized that in the Sami community and in the Norwegian community, I'm the weirdo. Like, this is like super strange, you know, you're living in the past. So it was really difficult for me to continue on that path. I had so much work with my music, and so I didn't actually have that much time to spend on like learning a lot about it. But I always had that longing to actually know more, and it got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I was wanting, in the end, I was like, I really do want to experience what my ancestors experienced. Like, I want to know what it means to be Sami. I want to know how they lived, and what it meant to them to be Sami, to understand how I can be Sami today. But yeah, it was, for a long time it was very difficult to be the weirdo. So I kind of tried to like hide a little bit, and not to talk about it too much. I didn't want to offend those who were scared of the Sami worldview. I didn't want to offend them, the people who were scared of it, you know. And you know, people try, some of my, and many people try to get me on different paths. They were trying to steer me away of Naidavut, of the Sami shamanism, because they saw it as something, they saw it as something not good in a way. I don't know exactly what it was they don't like about it, but, and that has also given me a little bit like, that has made me think about it, like, what is it that is so bad about the Sami worldview? Like, why is it so bad? And still today people are so afraid of it. Like, what is it that is so frightening about it? Why isn't it a natural part of the society, of this, the Sami society at least? Here I am, like, really wanting to learn the old ways, and I really want to preserve our culture and like experience what our ancestors experienced. Like, I really want to be able to bring that forth in the modern world. And yet I'm the weirdo, you know. Isn't this what we're all fighting for? Isn't this what everyone is working for, to actually preserve Sami culture? Isn't this what we're all fighting for, to preserve it, to find back to our roots, to move, to decolonize? Like, isn't that what we're all trying to do? So for me it's still a little bit strange, like, why am I the weirdo? I'm still looking for those answers. I'm really happy that at the moment Norway isn't a Christian country. The state of Norway isn't Christian anymore. You're allowed to have what kind of religion you want to in Norway. So it's not like obligatory anymore to be Christian in Norway. But it's still a bit like, I know so many Samis, they were like, no, I can't, you know, I'm too Christian, you know, I can't really talk about this. This is not something that I can talk about out loud. You know, maybe it's okay to talk about it now, you know. Time has passed. Maybe in these times, in these new times where they say that the Sami, where people are talking so much about lifting the Sami culture and preserving Sami culture and all of that. Maybe now it's okay to talk about it. And the thing that makes us Sami different from everyone else is our worldview, and the way, meaning the way of thinking, the way of living, our spirituality, our beliefs, our values. That's what our culture is built upon. So if the Sami worldview disappears, how do we then know what our values are? If we just continue adopting the values and the worldview of the Western society, of our colonizers, then we're not different from them. I would say, like, the whole of Sami culture is built upon the worldview, which is based on the land. I would say that the foundation of the Sami culture is Naidavuota, which is the worldview, the way of thinking, the values that are connected to the land where we live. So for me, Naidavuota is kind of the base of the culture, I guess, you know. For me, it's very strange to separate the way of thinking from the culture, you know. Not incorporating the worldview when we talk about the Sami culture is kind of like you're missing an important part, that there's an important part missing. So maybe now is the time we can get more open about it. You know, it's been 10 years since the Norwegian government separated Christianity from the state. So maybe it's time. My personal story about how I thought that the Sami spirituality, worldview and way of thinking and the myths and everything was lost forever. I thought it was lost forever. The Sami spirituality, worldview and the way of thinking, all the myths were forgotten. I thought all of that was gone forever. And this is my personal story.